Hi there. My name is John Stevens. I'm pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we are part of the ELCA. And welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text, timed to an item from the Dollar Tree or the junk drawer or the kids' room or the garage. That's how we've been doing it. Thank you for spending a little bit of your week with me in this way. Thank you for the love that you're sharing with your kids and your congregation and your families. You are rocking it. Now, this is for the fourth Sunday after Pentecost. We're looking at the gospel lesson and the second reading. I'm recording this Sunday after church. I recorded a week before earlier, and now this is after church. I'm tired, and I'm realizing as I was doing that intro, it sounds like I'm tired. So, anyway, I'm here. I'm excited. It's post-worship. But I wanted to get these recorded because I'm going to confirmation camp next week, and so I just wanted to get these out there. So I'm looking at the gospel lesson and or the second reading. And so there's two directions I'm going with this. I'm still working on this. So these are springboards, kind of fully, well, they're not fully worked out all whatsoever, but I think they might be helpful for your own children's sermon. So the first one is that Jesus sends us out in pairs. And I think that's crucially important, that especially in this time where you say, you have a personal relationship with Jesus. And I always say, no, I don't have a personal relationship with Jesus. I have a communal relationship with Jesus. I had a congregation member, Marion, who was a saint, a wonderful woman. And she pushed back on me at one point when I said that. I said it during the sermon, that I have a communal relationship with Jesus. And she said, no, Pastor, I think you do have a personal relationship with Jesus. So I thought about it, and I came back and I said, Marion, because you're a saint, I always called her Saint Marion, I'm going to give it to you, that I do have a personal relationship with Jesus, but it's found in community. Because if we're called together to be the body of Christ, we're called together to do this work together, we are the body. So in that realm, I have a personal relationship with Jesus. All of that to say, I think it's very telling and very crucial that we are sent out in pairs, because we are better together. As we go out, we can support one another, we can walk with one another. So with that, there's a couple of directions we might go. One is, so last week talked about, using a mirror and trying to have me walk backwards with an obstacle course or something like that. This time, you're going to have, the kids are going to play a role of a person, and you get to play the role of a person, and you are going to have them take part with you in a trust walk, not a trust fall. No, I like the kids. I don't trust them enough to do a trust fall and put them into a position where they have to catch me. No, it's going to be a trust walk where we're just going to have them lead me down the sanctuary, down the aisle of the sanctuary with my eyes closed, maybe blindfolded, and have the kids lead me. And this idea that we are better together and we are being led and sent out by Christ together. And so, and I really am stressing that better together, because that's an important thing, because in a society where we say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, I don't know how someone does that, but in a society that looks at individualism as one of the more important things, I look at our communal relationship with Jesus and with our fellow members of the body of Christ being crucially important. Extra important, whatever word I was trying to say. It's very important. So that's one. That's the one direction. The other is you're going to need a bunch of pencils. So you go down to the Dollar Tree, or you go down to Fred Meyer's, Kroger's, somewhere where you get a pack of pencils. Because when you have one pencil, it breaks easily. But when you have a group of pencils, it is virtually impossible to break. Now, you could probably find a way to do it, but just in the sense of just this bunch of pencils together, and you cannot break them that way. And it's because we're stronger together. We're better together. Christ calls us into community to do the work, and we are better together. So that's the second on that text. There's something that keeps drawing me to the second reading, and I'm working on this, but I love the glimpse that we get into the life of what Paul is going through. Because in this letter, Paul is in prison. It seems like he's always in prison, but he's in prison and he's writing this letter. And there's this one line that he goes, see how big a letters I make in my own hand. I absolutely love that. And I love the glimpse where that Paul is just throwing in that kind of a non sequitur, just a little an aside. But you know that in there that somehow, like, so a scribe has been writing it down, and then maybe Paul goes, I want to say this, and he writes a sentence, and then he's like, oh, look how big my writing is. And it reminds me of some of the letters. I'm writing you from my desk in the whatever, next to the candy shop. I've been trying to stay away from the candy shop, but I have now smeared chocolate and raspberry cream upon this paper. Whatever, something like that. But I just love the humanness of that sentence. And in a way that one might want to take this in the direction, if we're in the season of green, we're in this looking at our own growth, and sometimes we can forget, or maybe with the kids and the adults, they don't know that this book that we're Galatians is a letter that Paul wrote to the church in Galatia. That this was and I think it's fascinating, and it might be a way to this children's sermon might be more of that educational, where like want to talk, or you could talk about it. It's a love letter, and then it's like, have you got a greeting card from your grandparents? Have you ever got a birthday card, maybe from a friend who wrote it? And you can tell it was your friend that wrote it. I mean, when my kids actually wrote me a greeting card when they were about that age, I could tell, because Daddy was Dady, not spelled correctly, but I knew what it said, and it touched my heart. So in that, looking at the greeting card, looking at this letter that Paul is writing to the church in Galatia, when he's writing to the Galatians, when he's writing to Galatians, the folks that are in that one church on the corner of 1st and 3rd in Galatia. Anyway, so I love it. It just, there's something about that keeps drawing my attention. So anyway, I might do that with the greeting card, and maybe share a birthday card I got, or a thank you card I got from someone in the congregation, and then say, and then that reminds me of the letter that we read from Paul, and Paul gives a little bit of a hint about, maybe he doesn't have great penmanship. Curious, huh? Anyway, so those are some of those are the springboards where I'm going. I think there's a few ideas that are workable in here. I'm hoping one of these can be useful for your own children's sermon. Again, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your week with me in this way. Thank you for your partnership in this ministry, but most importantly, thank you for the love that you're sharing with your kids and your congregation and your families. You, my friend, are rocking it. All right, there we go. Have a great week, and I will see you next week. Peace.